Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience.
Hello, welcome back to Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience. I'm your host, Big Les. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube, become a part of the Big LEZ'S League community. Also, the Sports Shed TV charity match, it is on very, very soon, the 22nd of February. It's this weekend, guys. It's this weekend. So make sure you go ahead and grab your tickets in the description below. The link will be there for you guys to purchase those. Instagram as well, give us a follow. It should be in the description, but it's Big LEZ'S League, Big LEZ'S League. Give us a follow. Let's get stuck straight into it, guys. Massive news over the last couple of hours is that the Origin eligibility rules have changed. So we did read this out on the podcast on the audio platforms when we did our initial reaction, but I'll read it out here for you guys as well on the YouTube. So the State of Origin international eligibility rules modernised. This is an NRL statement. It says the Australian Rugby League Commission today announced the modernisation of State of Origin international eligibility rules to reflect the continued growth and global strength of rugby league. Under the updated rules, any player who meets the existing State of Origin eligibility criteria will be able to play State of Origin regardless of the nation they represent in international fixtures. Previously, players were required to be eligible to represent Australia or a Tier 2 nation. So Tier 2 is like Samoa, Tonga. I think Tier 3 then goes on to Cook Islands, PNG, etc. So you could represent any of those sides and then still be eligible for State of Origin. The updated rules remove this restriction, allowing players who represent Tier 1 nations such as England and New Zealand who meet the traditional State of Origin criteria to now be eligible. So the initial criteria still applies. You would have to be born in either New South Wales or Queensland, or have moved over to New South Wales or Queensland before the age of 13, before your 13th birthday. Or if your father played State of Origin for either state, you'd be eligible for that state. So the old school rules still apply. It just means that, for example, if you were born in, let's just say, New South Wales before the age of 13 and you've played for New Zealand already and you want to play State of Origin, you can play State of Origin and for New Zealand. For Victor Radley's case, he was born in New South Wales, grew up in Bronte, and now he is eligible to play for both England, which is obviously, I believe, his mother's side. Could be wrong. But now can play for England and play for New South Wales as well. So we're going to go through a couple of the players that this affects. We've done a little bit of research behind the scenes, a little bit of ChatGPT, a little bit of Wikipedia. How reliable are those? We're not too sure. We'll find out once we get blasted in the comments. But we have done a little bit of research, looking into a couple of different websites, a couple of different backgrounds on players. And we've got a list of players for both Queensland and New South Wales who are now eligible to play State of Origin and be selected for State of Origin in 2026. So we're going to get stuck through this list. Now, I do want to come on and say quickly before we begin, let's just have a look at this. So these two players only missed out for around for the first one, 2 years. He was only 2 years off playing State of Origin. The second one was only 4 years off playing State of Origin. The first one, 2 years off. Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown was only 2 years off. He moved to Parramatta when he was 15. So you have to obviously move before your 13th birthday. He moved over when he was 15 years of age. So he is ineligible only by 2 years. Second player, 4 years. Herbie Farnworth. Herbie Farnworth was 17 when he moved over to, I believe, Ipswich in Queensland. So he is only 4 years off being selected. Those would have been absolute bombshell moves, and you would have heard about them straight away if those guys were eligible to play. But they were only 2 and 4 years off being eligible. Another guy that was 2 years off was Moses Leota. Moses Leota was 2 years off. He moved over when he was 15, I believe, as well. So only 2 years off being able to play State of Origin football. We'll get stuck into Queensland first. First the worst, second the best. We know how it runs here on Big LEZ'S League, New South Wales all the way. So we'll start off with Queensland. AJ Brimson's now obviously eligible. He played for Queensland previously, but obviously when defecting over to England and representing England, He became ineligible. Now, obviously, with these new rules, he can still play for Queensland and for England. It's because he was born in Brisbane. Another guy, Jason Taumalolo. Now, obviously, with these, rules, obviously they wanted to change this a couple of years ago, and the guy that was brought up was Jason Taumalolo, particularly a couple of years ago when he was in his prime still. He was the face of obviously wanting to get this change across. A lot of people were, especially Queenslanders, were wanting Jason Taumalolo to play for Queensland. So he is eligible to now. Whether he does get picked or not, I don't think he will. I think that he is past his prime a little bit, and I just feel like the younger guys that they can pick now, the current crop of players that they would have had before this rule change, are probably better at the moment form-wise than Jason Taumalolo, but he is now eligible if there's injuries and whatnot to be selected. Another guy, which I think is a big bombshell, Briton Nikora. Briton Nikora moved to Queensland when he was aged 9 with his family relocating from Mount Maungani, I believe that's how you pronounce that, in New Zealand to the Gold Coast. So he meets that bracket. He moved over to Queensland at that stage, so he is eligible to play for Queensland in State of Origin. That's massive. I feel like if he has a big year for the Sharkies, I feel like he could get picked. And I think this does shake things up for the Sharks because you've got not only Briton Nikora, who's now eligible for Queensland, you've also got Ronaldo Mulitalo, who's eligible for Queensland, plus Blake Brayley is obviously going to be in the mix for New South Wales. He went over to that New South Wales camp a couple of weeks ago. So you've now, instead of having no players playing Origin for the Sharks, you've potentially got 3 who are going to be in and around the Origin arena, which is going to make things very, very interesting. But yeah, Briton Nikora for me, I think out of this whole list is probably the biggest shock. But he would be awesome in Queensland. I think that just in Origin in general, he's a very Origin player. And then Ronaldo Mulitalo is obviously in the next one, born in Auckland, but moved to Queensland at aged 8. Obviously played for Queensland in the lower grades as well. Coming up, he played in all of the development Queensland sides. So there you go. Hold on, I need to write my password in for my laptop. Awesome stuff. But yeah, Ronaldo Mulitalo also eligible now. Obviously, there was that big drama when he wanted to get picked for Queensland and couldn't. Now he can. The question is, will he play for Queensland? We'll have to wait and see. The back line at the moment is pretty stacked. And then the last one here for Queensland is Keano Kinney. Now, he moved across to Queensland reportedly at age 12. This is the only one I'm not too sure on. I did get that from ChatGPT, so I'm not too sure. I think with ChatGPT as well, I asked about Dylan Brown, and they said that he was born in New South Wales. Well, obviously, I looked it up, and I got confirmation that he wasn't actually born in New South Wales. He was born in New Zealand and moved over at age 15. So, ChatGPT, a little bit misleading at stages, but it does say that Keano Kinney moved over at age 12. I wasn't able to find anything that said anything different on Wikipedia or on all these other sites. So I've got a little asterisk next to his name, but Keano Kinney is there at the moment. Apparently moved over to Queensland at age 12. But that is it for Queensland. AJ Brimson, you've got Jason Taumalolo, you've got Briton Nikora, you've got Ronaldo Mulitalo, and you've got Keano Kinney. Let's go into New South Wales. I guess the biggest shock for New South Wales, and one that not many people were expecting, and I also don't think he'll be selected, but I thought I'd throw him in anyway for the shock factor. It's Dallin Watene-Zelezniak. He moved over to New South Wales at age 5 from New Zealand. While he obviously has played for New Zealand, representatively and obviously for his family, being born over there, he is still eligible to be picked for New South Wales. Again, will he be playing for New South Wales? I don't think so. But he is eligible to play for New South Wales. So, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak is in there. You have also got, and this is the one I think out of pretty much all of these players is the most likely to play State of Origin. It's Casey McLean. Now, Casey McLean played in New South Wales Junior Pathways and represented New South Wales under-19s only a couple of years ago. He did obviously move over to New South Wales before the age of 13. So that does make him eligible. So Casey McLean can play for New South Wales now as well as New Zealand. I think this is the biggest one for New South Wales. To be fair, I actually think it is the biggest one out of this list. I think that Briton Nikora is the biggest shock and a name that not many people expected to see. But I think that Casey McLean is probably the most likely to play State of Origin in this list. It's going to be crazy to see if he makes it. I think that winger debate becomes a lot more interesting now. I think there is a free spot. If they want to chuck Casey McLean on the left wing, you could have Casey McLean and Latrell Mitchell on the left, Critter and Brian To'o on the right side. That is a crazy backline there for New South Wales. So Casey McLean, definitely one to keep an eye on for New South Wales selections. As I said, I think out of this whole list, he is probably the most likely to be selected. The next one, again, not a guy I think will be picked, but I think another interesting one. Phoenix Crossland, although born in New Zealand, he moved to New South Wales Central Coast at the young age, played junior rugby league for the Erina Eagles. So he grew up in Erina, has probably the most Aussie accent out of a lot of the guys picked in the New Zealand teams as well. Obviously, he's an Aussie, and when he got picked for New Zealand, I actually had to look back through the things as well because I didn't know that he was eligible for New Zealand in the first place. So Phoenix Crossland, he is eligible to be picked for New South Wales. Obviously playing his junior footy for the Erina Eagles and moving to the Central Coast at a very young age. Victor Radley, obviously born in Sydney, New South Wales. As I said, grew up in Bronte. We sort of spoke about it before. He is eligible to play for New South Wales. He was eligible to be played for New South Wales as well and was picked in the squad, I think, a long way ago. I think in his second or third year in the NRL, he got picked in the extended bench for New South Wales before he defected over to England, but he's eligible to play New South Wales now as well. I think he could definitely end up in the side somewhere, maybe in the back row or something, depending on if there's injuries. But not sure how likely Victor Radley is of playing for New South Wales. We'll have to wait and see. Definitely one that he's an Origin player, that's for sure, and he'd come in and do an outstanding job. Just not sure with the current side that we have where he sort of fits in. Probably the second most likely in this list. We sort of said that Casey McLean was the most likely for us to play State of Origin out of this entire list. I think the second most likely is Adam Fanua-Blake, and he's eligible now for New South Wales. He played for New Zealand a few years ago in one of the development sides, and that obviously ruled him out for playing for New South Wales. He's now eligible to play for New South Wales. Does he fit in this side? I think you'd definitely make a spot for him in this team. It's going to be very, very interesting to see if he does make it. I think that for guys like Terrell May and for guys, just some other younger guys that would have been pushing their way into the squad, I think that Adam Fanua-Blake probably trumps those guys a little bit. And once the sides are picked, you probably might see him in jersey 15, 16, 17. Adam Fanua-Blake, that's for sure. He'll definitely be a guy that will be in the mix for New South Wales. Whether he does make it, Laurie Daly, obviously the coach there, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, an interesting one there, Adam Fanua-Blake. I think that's a huge one to get. And then again, a guy that I don't think will play for New South Wales, but he is eligible now, is Jeremy Marshall-King. Very crafty number 9. Again, a guy that not a lot of people would have looked at, but he is definitely eligible for New South Wales. That's going to be interesting to see if he will be in the mix. I don't think he will, because you've got Brayley, you've got Cookie, you've got Appy, you've got Reece Robson, you've got a bunch of hookers there. But he is eligible now, so I thought that I'd throw him in this list. There you go, guys. These are the players that are now eligible to play for New South Wales and Queensland. When you look at this list, there aren't any big names. As I said, I think if Dylan Brown and Herbie Farnworth were in these lists, and if they were available, then that would obviously shake things up. But obviously these guys are missed out by 2 and 4 years. So that obviously rules them out of being selected. Not too many massive bombshells, other than obviously your Casey McLean's and Britt Nickera, I think was a massive one. I think it's going to be a crazy one to look at as well, and one that not many people would have expected. But yeah, those are the guys that are eligible now to play for New South Wales and Queensland. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you find out that there's any other players that we may have missed, or details that from this list that we got maybe incorrect, let us know in the comment section below. I would love to have the discussion with you as well. Subscribe to the YouTube, become a part of the big LEZ'S League community, and we'll see you guys in the next one.